This is episode 44 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Brent Bowers. Brent is a former Army officer with over 8 years of service who came back, got into the real estate investing field, and now is a land coach at the Land Sharks. Brent, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I know we're going to talk a lot about land, but this is something that has always interested me. Are there more service people now interested in real estate while they're away? Because it seems like passive income could be a good option for when you guys get back. That's why where I want to start.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was me. I was always away, always training, always gone. And I was like, what is passive income? And I thought it was buying a rental property and then getting the phone calls from the property manager and having to, they like, well, the sewer line needs replaced. And they give me this outrageous bill. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to call 5 other people. And then I was like, this is a job. It turned into another job that I was trying to run from. So my land business truly created passive income from me. Did I make a bunch of mistakes doing it? Heck yes.
Now you're super into land. Land is your thing now, but compare your experience with houses to land, and why has land been such a better fit for you personally?
Yeah, we could start with the first couple land deals because I feel like a lot of people are just trying to get started. Like, tell me how to do my first deal.
Yeah.
To compare that, I had bought a rental property in 2007 and I put a tenant in it. And I was never, ever profitable on this property. I sold it in 2019. From 2007 to 2019, I pretty much just put money into it. I had a couple evictions and I bought this parcel. I bought this house for $125,000 as a 21-year-old kid. And that was a massive investment. But then we talked that I was never profitable on it. It just gave me heartburn and nightmares. And my first deployment, I saved up almost $5,000 on my first deployment in 2010. That was a lot of money for me back then. Well, guess what? Where that money went? Like I get like
furnace.
Yeah, pretty much. I got a 30 days leave after my first combat deployment was 1 year of deployed, gone. And I had 5,000 saved up, and all we wanted to do was travel Europe because we lived in Germany. That was my home base. Well, there was no traveling because that $5,000 went to renovating the house after I evicted the tenant, and she bashed in all my walls and destroyed the toilet. And it's like, my first wife was like, I can't believe you screwed up so bad, like that all of our money just went to this. And I still to this day, that hurt me. Then my first land deal. Let's talk about my first land deal.
Yeah, let's do the comparison because it's much different.
Yeah. I sent out a postcard that said, hey, my name is Brent. I'd like to buy your land at 123 Main Street. And most of the time they don't even have addresses. So I would say in El Paso County, Colorado, because that's where I was at. If you're interested in an all cash, fair priced offer, call me or text me. God bless you. And if anybody wants a copy of that postcard, just go to thelandsharks.com/postcard and you can have it. That thing I bought millions of dollars worth of property with that postcard, but I sent it to the tax delinquent list. This was people behind on their taxes for their land. Now, these people, some of them were years behind, and they were happy to hear from me. So the first guy that called was like a retired CPA. I still remember it to this day because I was hiding in the bathroom at work to take this call. Like, as an Army officer, you're not supposed to have a business outside of the military. So I took the call. He told me the price. I was like, oh my God, okay. Let me drive to it on the weekend and I'll get back to you. Is that okay? He's like, yeah, whatever. So we went and looked at it. I had no clue what it was worth. I called the real estate office down the street from the land. She was pretty familiar with the area. I said, what do you think is the blowout price, the 30 days, get it done now price? Like I cannot have my money into this piece of land.
To sit there.
And I had I mentioned, I had a lot of debt because I had bought several other rental properties and they were all fixer uppers and I wasn't making money on any of them. I was just going further and further in the hole. So I was freaking out over $285. Seriously, that's terrible to say this. But she goes, I don't know about the blowout price, but I think you can sell it for about 10 grand on the multiple listing service. I was like, are you kidding me? Okay. I was like, I'll call you back as soon as I own it. Well, I hang up with her. I'm telling my wife, and literally she calls me right back and makes an offer for $5,000. I said, let's do it. She bought it for me the next week for $5,000. And I traded $285 for $5,000.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I was hooked. And then I did a couple more, and I was doing like junky property, like land that was landlocked, land that was not buildable, not accessible. And the next one got me a seller financing note. And I paid $500 for the second parcel that I'd bought. And I put it on Craigslist because I didn't think it was worth much.
Yeah.
I said 500 down, 400 a month. I had a buyer the next day because Americans don't care what it costs. It's about what's the payment going to be. And that's the one that got me addicted. That's the one that changed my life because now I'm literally profitable. I get my money out from day one. I'm profitable 30 days later, and it's paying my truck payment. And I just kept doing those over and over. Yeah. And why do we do this business? Again, Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing. I feel like I got to talk about this with your audience. Like, we do this for lifestyle, right? Like, I did not get into land to get rich. I got into land because I was running from a problem. And that was another deployment, another time away from my family, possibly a second divorce. Like, I'm going to be a huge failure. Like, I don't want that. So I was running from a problem. And then before I realized that, I got out of the military and Parkinson's law set in place. Time will expand. I'm sorry, the actual, I messed that up. The action, the task will expand to the time we give it.
Exactly.
And now I have like 24 hours a day to do whatever the heck I want. So what did I do? I went out and scaled and built all these systems and hired 2 acquisition managers and a disposition manager. Now I'm like babysitting all my team members, and I'm freaking out and losing money in houses and like getting gray hair in my beard. My wife's like, you're a maniac. I can't stand being around you. And I was like, oh my God, I just created another job. And I was like doing this because of my ego. And I was like, I'm not trying to get rich. I just wanted to have a good life with my family, serve God. And like, we just descaled, fired almost everybody. My team is really small. I have 1 acquisition manager, 1 bookkeeper, and executive assistant now. I don't take phone calls at all, hardly during the day. And we just took the whole month of March off, almost the whole month, except for 1 week. I did work like crazy during that 1 week. And because I'm also like addicted to work. I got to work. Like, men are supposed to work, right? And then we just booked our vacation at the end of June for 6 weeks in Costa Rica. Like, I heard you mention self-storage. I'm interested in taking some of my land money,
for sure,
and partnering with someone on that, because guess what? Here's a negative thing about land. Like, you make so much stinking money in this land business, but here I don't have anything to depreciate. I don't have anything to cost.
Great point.
Segregate. Like, my CPA is like freaking out. Like, you need to buy buildings.
Put something on it. Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, so self-storage is a nice kind of like a step up into the world of buildings, because again, there's no tenants, and your access. So I do think it's hard to do, but it's also a great build for land if it's in the right area, because self-storage is really scaling in terms of people, downsizing. They need more space for the junk that they're never going to use anyway, but they want to store, the mementos that none of us want to give away. Like, that's what it's there for. And yeah, it's another good option. But that's why it's good to, like, if you look at your background in investing, like, you went through the houses, you went through the wholesaling, you figured out what you really like, and here you are at land, but you're still thinking about, hey, what other options am I, and how can I match it with land to get some depreciation? I think it's smart.